So it's Monday, and Monday's normally my cycling day actually, but it's so gusty today, even though it's lovely and sunny. It's just way too dangerous, unfortunately, to be out on my bike. So instead I went for a nice hike through the dunes. And one of the things that happens on our beach is that when the surface of the sand dries, we get this amazing kind of river of sand effect. And it's really, I think it's stunningly beautiful. And I've got a little bit of a zoom in for you so you can see exactly what it's like. And yeah, it's one of the nicest things. And when you're actually walking out on the beach, you can see the sort of river of sand going over your shoes. It's really great. Anyway, I am down on the allotment, and it's a planting day again today. I'm doing a lot of bed clearing and planting at this time of year because basically I'm kind of trying to clear all of my winter crops as quickly as possible and get them all replanted for spring crops, so I can get the spring crops harvested before the summer crops. You know, it's a bit of a treadmill, but it's a really fun one. So today I'm planting lettuce after turnips and after some other batches of lettuce which were great in autumn and early winter but didn't really survive over winter. So getting some lovely spring varieties in to take their place. I might have mentioned this in last week's video, I can't remember, but I just noticed on Sunday when I was doing the harvest that we got the first flowers on the broad beans. Now the broad beans are pretty big now, they're getting to the top of the canes, so I think it's about time to pinch them out and just let them then concentrate on putting all their effort into growing beans rather than growing tall. So here are the lettuce that I'm planting today. So we've got some Grenoble Red, some Navarra and some Richia. And the canaster, I don't think they're quite ready yet, so they'll probably be ready towards the end of the week. But they're a bit slower growing. So I've got 30 plants to try and squeeze in. I think I'll be alright. And I just wanted to show you these, which are my hanging basket lettuces. Now I got this idea off one of my commentators on my YouTube videos, and I've been so pleased with that. I've got 3 lettuces in each of these hanging baskets. I've got some more down there, and I just harvested this one on Sunday, and I got lovely little hearted lettuces out of it, so I was really happy. So I might just try putting some more back in these and compare the growth up here high up with the maximum light and heat with the ones that I plant down here. So those are the lettuces, and in the hanging basket, and just fill in those few gaps. And the reason that I've left all that space there is because I'll be popping radishes in between towards the end of the week when they're ready. So my next job is to clear out this pak choi and tatsoi bed and get it ready for planting spinach towards the end of the week. So that's all ready to go when the spinach is ready. As I say, it's just I don't know, 3 or 4 days away from planting now. And I have given this bed a decent water because I think now's the time to do it, before you plant rather than after you plant, although I will just give them a little bit of water at planting time. But I gave them 6 for both of these beds, 6 watering cans, because the soil was quite dry. And I've got loads of water right now, whereas I won't have in March. And I'm also giving the spinach beds a bit of a clean up, just removing these sorts of dead leaves. And yeah, I just gave them a little bit of a water, and I'll let them dry out now in the windy weather. I've got lots of spinach beds, so I'll soon be clearing like a bed a month and replanting it. So this is a spinach bed that I sowed in the middle of August, and it gave us an incredible harvest all the way through autumn and into winter, but it's looking a bit kind of tired and scrappy now. So this side of it was interplanted with salad onions, which I've just finished harvesting, and this side of it is interplanted with tough ball Japanese onions, which are for an early harvest in May. So I want to take these little spinach plants out of this bed, as I say, because they're sort of getting in the way a little bit and just making it all really scrappy and horrible. This one I think I'll just clean up, and I'll leave the spinach in here for another few weeks and just get a bit more of a harvest off it. And then this side it's going to get planted out with little baby Brussels sprout plants, which we'll be harvesting for leaves in late spring and summer. Basically sort of similar timeline to these onions, which are looking really nice actually now. So I'm really happy with this now. I think this is a great interplant, especially this one, because these onions now are huge and they've done really nicely. And the reason that they've done so well is because they were planted out, I think sort of early September time, and I didn't put the covers on until kind of late October, so they were outside. They liked the outside environment. They've grown on really big. You've got to note when you grow kind of forcing onions like this under a low tunnel that they're almost certainly going to go to seed before they reach maturity. But that's no problem, because we run out of onions in May, maybe even April sometimes, and so we want these kind of immature, maybe 1 inch, maybe 1.5 inch sort of green onions as soon as we possibly can get them. And we also got a spinach crop at the same time, and that's why I love it. And obviously at this point now we don't need as much spinach, so when we needed the spinach was in early autumn and winter. Now we don't need it, we've got the onions. So I just love interplanting. And my final job for the day is to put this batch of strawberries in. So I already had that batch of strawberries, so now we've got a lot of strawberries hanging in here, and I absolutely love strawberries. And I've just been listening to a podcast actually talking about fructose and the dangers of fructose, and how strawberries are fine. All the berries, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, etc. are great. So that was quite a relief, because I will be snacking on these all through spring and early summer, and then I'll be snacking on these all the way through June and July. And there will be a cold frame top, low tunnel or something that goes on top of those soon. And then I'll be eating these in August and September, and then if all goes to plan, I'll be eating these in October, because these are an ever-bearing one. They look a bit scrappy at the moment, but I am planning to put those in the polytunnel in sort of September time. So it's Tuesday today, and Tuesday is normally a hiking day, but it's still far too windy really to be out in the hills. Well, it's not too windy, but it's not very pleasant in the hills. So I just walked along the seafront from St Anne's, where I live, to Lytham, and it's a nice walk. I think in total it's about 11 miles, the kind of circular route that I did, and stopped off for breakfast halfway, and there's a kind of diversion that you can take on the way back that takes me past the allotment. So I'm here and just going through all the beds at the moment, just tidying them up, and it's not very much work, but basically we've got a lot of sort of mossy green growth on the soil, and what I find is if you just break that up with your fingers, it really doesn't grow back. So otherwise I'm not really sure whether there's any real detriment to it, but obviously it's taking nutrients out of the soil. I want those nutrients back in the soil, and it's a quick and easy job, but it makes all the difference, and everything just looks so much neater once that's done. So that was me done really on the allotment. I'm going home for a nap. So I've just finished sowing my onions, so I've got 2 other trays that I've already done, so that's 6 trays in all, 4 seeds per module, and hopefully 3 will germinate. And so that's all of our onions, and in total I think we'll have some in sets as well, which I won't plant out until the beginning of April, but these will be planted out about 10th of April, I should think. And so in total we have about 1,000 onions, I should think. And I wonder how many salad onions we have. I've worked it out, about 2,500 salad onions. So in total we're sowing about 3,000 onions a year. Not too bad. So we'll be making a video about how I grow onions shortly. There's so much disagreement about the way that people grow onions, it's unbelievable. But we all seem to manage to harvest some at the end of the day, so maybe it doesn't matter. So it's Thursday and I'm back on the plot again, and it's a big planting day today for me. So I've got lots to put out and I'll show you what I'm doing. And yesterday actually I did my longest ever cycle ride, and it was only rather pathetic, 40 miles, and even with that I needed e-bike assistance for about half of it, but anyway, I'm still pretty pleased with myself. So today I'm planting these spare lettuces at the back of the spinach bed. I'm filling in the gaps in this lettuce bed with radish. I am planting this tray of spinach and this tray of radishes, and I don't think I'll plant the turnips yet, but I might get around to doing it. I've now brought loads of my seedlings from home because they're plenty big enough now to be happy in here. I don't want to plant any of them out until March, so yeah, I'll just leave them to acclimatise to the cooler conditions. So we've got lots of different things here: Brussels sprouts for leaves, calabrese, various different types of kale, kale-ann, red cabbages, curly kales, more calabrese, spring onions, bulbin onions, all sorts. I mean, I don't do many onions this early, so just a couple of trays, but I've got 4 more trays on the go just sown, and 2 more trays of salad onions. So that's the radishes in. That's just enough for 2 weeks supply, and the reason for that is that the polytunnel ones should come about 2 weeks before the ones that are outside in a cold frame, and so that's all we need. And I don't really like to use polytunnel space for something that grows so well outside like radish. And I'm just doing these 4 seeds to a module because I find that at that density they all come ready at the same time, so I don't have to mess around picking out individual radishes. Whereas later on in the year I can get away with 5 or 6 seeds to a module and they still all come at the same time. So this is my first succession of radish. So these are now 1 month old and they're looking really nice, and I've just popped the second succession in, and those are 2 weeks old, and just got a few gaps there that I might fill with turnips. And there's the turnips that I planted last week into those cauliflowers, and some of them have been eaten by slugs or something by the look of it, but most of them look okay. And the beetroot in between these calabrese are starting to put on some really nice growth as well. So now I'm on to the spinach, and this is just over 2 weeks old, looking okay. I think it'll come out the modules okay. If not, I'll just leave it for a week. And those are the spare lettuces. So in the end they're coming out of the modules quite nicely, especially the ones that have got 2 or 3 seedlings in a module. A few of them have only got 1 and they're a bit tricky to get out, but anyway, we'll see how they do. And that is one of the nice things about sowing multiple seeds in a module. You get more root mass, and they come out of the modules when they're younger, and younger plants just seem to grow better, so I really like doing it this way. And I'm planting them up to the leaves, so planting this bit of stem. One of the many reasons that I like planting young, especially spinach, is they get extremely taffled up with each other, and so it's so much easier to get them out of the modules when they're a bit younger. So there we go, all planted up. Lettuces at the front, these are winter density, and at the front here these are canasta, and I've given these a good amount of space. partly because I'll probably pop radishes in between them, but also just because, you know, the more space you give spinach, the bigger and more vigorous the plants. And if I were planting direct in the ground with seed, because spinach seed is very cheap, I would probably plant more than this, but then I would get smaller leaves. So this is a good spacing for big leaved vigorous plants, which is what we generally prefer for cooking, and these will mostly be used for cooking. And we'll check back on all these plantings next week. So it's harvest day today, and for some crazy reason I decided to do it on Saturday rather than Sunday, and it's pouring down with rain, so I thought I'd take this opportunity just to finish this gardening week video. So early on in the week I did manage to sow quite a lot of seeds, and so pretty much I've got all the seeds sown now until the middle of February. Got all of my onions done and all of that sort of thing, and I put the stuff up down the side of the video so you can see the seeds that I did get sown. Most of what I sowed earlier on in the month has now germinated, so I'm really happy with all of that. And I'm almost now at the point where I've sown everything that I'm going to be harvesting in spring. Not quite at that point, but almost at that point. So from now on, it'll be things like radishes and turnips and, you know, fast growing things like that, lettuces and things, or it will be things that I'm kind of starting to focus on for an early summer harvest, so kind of, you know, late May, early June sort of time. And that's quite nice. It makes a change because there's a lot of sameness in the diet at this time of year. Anyway, I'll show you the quick harvest video and then we're done. So here we go, here's today's harvest. And we are running low on a few things. For example, we've now got no radishes. We're a bit short on salad onions, although we've still got a few. We've not got very many apples left. And well, I think that's most of, we've got no turnips and no parsnips. So yeah, quite a few things that we normally would have. So let's go a quick run through. So we've got the salad mixes. I've added the tomatoes obviously, and the cheese. And we've got the oca, the lamb's lettuce, the miner's lettuce, the salad onions, the field bean tops, which are gorgeous actually at the moment, and then we've got the spinach, which is quite good, and then all the brassicas. We are a little bit short of brassicas, so at the moment we've got lots of tops of things, so lots of these beautiful little Colette tops, lots of these little baby sprout tops, lots of these like little tiny calabrese and things like that, so lots of kind of odds and ends until all the sort of brassica growth picks up again in March, but still a really nice selection. Some nice purple sprouting broccoli, lots of lovely colettes, really nice new potatoes. Those are Charlottes harvested from the tubs, plenty of carrots, the yacon from the store, some really nice leeks. We're still picking sort of that number every week. Parsley, sprouts, and these little red sprouts, garlic, shallots, onions, and mostly we're using the white onions at the moment because they won't keep for very much longer. We've got loads of red onions left, but they keep better. Beetroot, preserves to give away. We've got some ginger and lime cordial, and some jams, and another squash. I don't think we'll have quite enough squash to last us until the courgettes are ready, but we might do. So anyway, that's it. Not too bad. Nice to see the harvest still kind of maintaining its steady state, and it will pick up no end in March, and there's loads of new stuff being planted every week now. So, hope you enjoyed this quick video. My name's Steve, this is the Seaside Kitchen Garden and Allotment channel, and I'll see you soon. Oh, and I should mention, yes, I also wrote 2 more chapters of 2 more growing guides, one on French beans and one on runner beans, and all the different successions that I do and why I do them that way and all that sort of thing. So if you're interested in those, you can take a look. And I'm almost finished with the growing guides. I am kind of keeping up with what I think it makes sense to sow at this time of year. And I'm just right now, since it's a rainy day, planning to be working on my leeks chapter, and then pretty much I think all of the kind of hardy vegetables are covered. So yeah, I'll see you soon.